Hello and welcome you all to the first lecture on deep learning course, that is CSL 6036 for MTech 2019 batch. And the agenda for today's lecture are I will first give you a brief overview of syllabus of deep learning, and then I will give a brief introduction to machine learning and deep learning, and I will discuss some paradigms of machine learning. So we start with uh, syllabus, and first I will give you a brief overview of syllabus. So here you come. So welcome to the course on deep learning, and this is the course designed for MTech uh, third semester batch, MTech second semester, sorry. And here is the details of the deep learning syllabus. So in this course, we are going to learn. We will have 5 units, and in first unit, uh, we will discuss about machine learning, some aspects of machine learning, such as supervised learning, unsupervised learning, examples and application of supervised learning, examples and application of unsupervised learning, and we discuss some of the classification, some examples of classification algorithms, such as NAB Bayesian classifier, decision tree, random forest. In unit 2, we continue with classification algorithm such as KNN and other algorithms, and then we will have a course on regression algorithm, that is linear and logistic regressions, and then we go with unsupervised learning algorithm, and in unsupervised learning algorithm we discuss about various clustering algorithms, what are the advantages and disadvantages of clustering algorithms, and then we discuss about some of the association rule mining algorithm. And from third unit, we start with deep learning. And in this unit, we discuss some of the brief of deep learning, and we discuss some of the models and algorithm of deep learning. So here we start with McCulloch and Pitts neuron, and I will give a brief. Here we will cover the threshold logic, and then we come to the model known as perceptron learning algorithm and multi-layer perceptron learning algorithm. And here I will give some of the parameters used in multi-layer perceptron, that is sigmoidal neuron, gradient descent, feed forward neural network, representation power of feed forward neural network. And in unit 4, we will cover backpropagation neural network, that is very powerful neural network algorithm. And then we discuss gradient descents uh, to improvise the learning mechanism of backpropagation algorithm. And then we discuss some other algorithms of deep learning like autoencoder, deep belief network, restricted Boltzmann machine, and so on and so forth, and some of the constraints associated with these algorithms. And in unit 5, we will discuss some other algorithm of deep neural network, such as convolution neural network, recurrent neural network, back propagation through time, uh, LSTM neural network, that is long short-term memory neural network. And these will be the suggested reading material. and I will provide all kind of lecture notes in this course. So do not need to worry about the course. And so we will have a very comprehensive learning in this subject. We will have a very comprehensive learning for machine learning and deep learning. So now we start with our first lecture, that is first today's lecture, that is a brief introduction to machine and deep learning approach. Okay, so we start with brief introduction to machine and deep learning. So we come to next slide, and here you can see uh, all these machine learning and deep learning are subfield of artificial intelligence, and artificial intelligence is the overall domain, and the subfield of artificial intelligence are machine learning and deep learning. So I will give you a brief introduction that there is biggest confusion among each and everyone, that how machine learning and deep learning, whether they are interrelated with artificial intelligence or not. So artificial intelligence is the domain, and machine learning and deep learning are the subfields of artificial intelligence. So we first talk about what is artificial intelligence. The term artificial intelligence was coined in 1954 by John McCarthy, and artificial intelligence deals with the science and engineering to build an intelligent system. And artificial intelligence, it is the ability of machine to imitate intelligent human behavior. So the basic objective is to build an intelligent system that imitate intelligent human behavior. But at that time we were lacking in powerful algorithm and powerful system infrastructure. Therefore this term was not very popularized at that time. But then we come up later on, we come up with some powerful algorithms such as machine learning in 1970, and then we came up with more powerful algorithm, that is deep learning. So machine learning is an application of AI that allows a system to automatically learn and improve from experience. And deep learning is an application of machine learning that uses a complex algorithm and deep neural network model to train a model. So basically, deep learning is a subfield of machine learning that deals with algorithms inspired by the structure and function of the human brain. So you must know that deep learning is inspired by the algorithm that is based on a structure and function of the human brain. And what was the basic objective of artificial intelligence is to build a system that imitate intelligent human behavior. So their objective is to model the human behavior in the artificial intelligence system. And then later on they came up with different kind of algorithm in machine learning that improvise the machine with that develop some algorithm, and it teach actually the system how to mimic intelligent human behavior. And then since there are limitation of machine learning and other algorithms, so we come up with and to cater the real world problems, we come up with some other algorithm, and that is known as deep learning algorithm. So deep learning algorithm is an application of machine learning that uses complex algorithm other than machine learning algorithm, and it is based on deep neural network to train a model to provide a solution to the complex real world problems. So next, moving on. Here, we all experience different kind of application like Facebook, Instagram, Netflix, Amazon, Uber, WhatsApp, Ola, and you can see machine learning is all around us, and all of these companies are using machine learning to improvise and innovate their application. So likewise, machine learning is all around us, and it is affecting how we socialize, how we work, and how we interact and play and socialize with other people. So machine learning is all around us, whether we are using Facebook, Instagram, Netflix, YouTube, Amazon, Ola, Uber, WhatsApp, or different kind of application. So machine learning is now becomes an important part of our life. For example, two of us, or like husband and wife, or like husband, wife, and their children, and two young couples, which is watching movies on Saturdays on YouTube and Netflix, and two of us, or the whole family, is watching movies and shows on Netflix and YouTube from last 1 month. And when you sit to watch next movies on YouTube or Netflix, then you can see that Netflix and YouTube start recommending movies that you want to watch. And then when you sit on next Saturday to watch a new movies, then you will have a better time, because you will start watching movies which you may like to watch. So that is how the Netflix and other application start recommending movies, and in this way they are providing a better, creating and providing a better kind of environment where you can enjoy and experience, you will have a better experience. So suppose you with your family went to some market, and you have invested lot of time in shopping and doing other kind of activity, and while returning you are facing a problem that you have no uh, tr- transportation is available so that you can reach your home safely. So here you can use Siri and O- Ola and Uber kind of application, and you can book a cab service, and which helps you to get your home safely. So machine learning is everywhere. And as I have told you that artificial intelligence, when it was coined, it was sound a futuristic term. And basically, artificial intelligence was popularized by science fiction books and science fiction movies. But nowadays, artificial intelligence is here, and it is helping to improvise our experience. For example, Facebook, Netflix, Amazon, and Uber, all of these companies are utilizing artificial intelligence and machine learning. For example, when you go on Netflix and you search for a particular movies, or when you go on YouTube and you search for a particular movies or so that you want to watch, so Netflix and YouTube analyze your habits and behaviors, and they are storing all of your habits and searches that you do on Netflix or on YouTube. And then they compare your habits and behavior with others, and then they start recommending movies for you based on your habits and behavior. So that is the power of machine learning and artificial intelligence. So now we will I will give you a brief difference among artificial intelligence and machine learning, and how artificial intelligence is different from machine learning. So first we need to understand what is artificial intelligence. So as I have told you, artificial intelligence is the science and engineering behind building an intelligent system that imitate intelligent human behavior. Whereas machine learning is the technology and set of algorithm that is used to teach computers how to mimic human function. So basically, machine learning algorithm improvising the experience of any system so that they can mimic or they can work similar to human behavior function. So going on, and as I have given you the example, how are these companies using machine learning and using machine learning and artificial intelligence to give you to create insight, innovation, and derive for imagination. I will give some examples here. So, like whenever you upload some new photographs or event on Facebook, and when you upload some photographs, they start recommending that to whom you want to tag, or you may tag to your personal friend, or you may tag your photograph and status to all of the Facebook friends, or so on and so forth. As well as when you go to Facebook and Twitter and other kind of online platform, they gives you some kind of advertisement. So based on your habits and behavior that they have analyzed, and they start recommending advertisement that you want to see. So, uh, in same manner, when you go on online shopping like Amazon or Flipkart or so on and so forth, or you go on Netflix or YouTube to watch movies, and whatever you do in Amazon or on Flipkart, they start storing your habits and behavior, and then they create a database. And based on the database, and whenever or next time you go on Amazon or Netflix, they start recommending products and movies that you want to watch or you want to buy. So this is how all of these companies are working. For example, on Instagram, when you upload a new photograph or new status, so they start suggesting some kind of emojis for your photograph, whether emojis may be sadness or emoji for happiness, or they start suggesting tags, different kind of tag based on your photographs. So all of these applications are actually inside they using the machine learning, and they learning your habits and behavior. So now come to another term that is frequently used nowadays, that is big data and data science. And everyone is confused among artificial intelligence, big data and data science and deep learning and machine learning. So all of these are interrelated with each other. And machine learning and deep learning are utilizing the data which is available on online platform to create insights from the data, or to extract insights and features from the data. And their objective is to improvise your experience when you go for online chatting or when you go for online shopping. So for example, when you are out from your location and you want to stay in contact with your friends, family, and other person, you do online chatting from Facebook or other kind of application. Or when you go for online shopping, so in all these activity, a huge amount of digital information, digital trail of information is left on the online sites. And all these data uh, is nothing but the big data, and all of these data is very complex. There is so much of it, and it is coming from many different sources. All of these data may be in different formats, and these data coming quickly in real time. So these data is nothing but this is known as big data, and business use all of these data to create customized and improved experience. So here they are collecting your data, and this data is known as big data. And to create customized and improved experiences, they are using machine learning and deep learning to learn from the data, and based on the learning they start recommending some kind of products or some kind of movies that I have given you the examples. For example, there are some examples of big data. So here you can see very popular car racing arena that is known as NASCAR. And this arena, all the participants who are participating in this car racing game, their car dashboard is fitted with a computer and camera, and while racing they record all of your activity, and their objective is to learn from different activities you do while racing a car, and their objective is to improvise their experience, so on next time when they go for car racing, their objective is to win or to come second. So pit crews uses the data, and that comes from computer on a car dashboard, and based on the recording of the event, they make adjustment to the race car in the next race. Then I will give you another example of big data, that is one very popular drink in US that is known as cherry Sprite. And this popular drink is based on digital platform which allows a user to create their own type of drink while mixing it with different kind of flavors which is available. And they create a customized type of drink based on by mixing different kind of drink. So it is very popular kind of digital platform used by the Coca-Cola, and it is very popular in US. So objective of different business organization is to generate massive amount of data, like you can go on Facebook or WhatsApp or Instagram or other kind of online platform. So all of these platforms are generating huge amount or massive amount of data, and this data is being analyzed to create insights or to extract feature, and that can drive imagination and innovation. So this is the basic of brief introduction to machine learning. So now I will discuss, I will give you a brief introduction to what is machine learning. And machine learning, we start with a canonical definition put out by Tom Mitchell in 1997. According to Tom Mitchell, a machine or an agent, it may be a biological agent, or it may be human agent, or it may be a machine. It's said to learn from experience with respect to some class of tasks and a performance measure P. If the learner performance at tasks in the class as measured by P improves with experience. So, what you get from this definition? So, if you want to understand what is machine learning, then you need to have three kind of parameter. So, if you want to understand what is machine learning, you require some well defined task and some performance measure and some well-defined experience. So I would first like to talk about some well-defined set of tasks. So, for example, you might be interested in writing exams in a particular subject, or you want to predict, you want to diagnose a patient of a specific illness. So the task may be you want to write exams in a particular subject, or the objective of doctor is to diagnose patient of a specific illness. So you need to carefully define some set of tasks, so that based on that you define the learning from the task. Then other parameter of machine learning, if you want to understand, that is performance measure. So in the absence of performance measure, we start making vague statement that okay, there is something is going on, or some learning is happening, or so on and so forth. You start making some kind of stuff like this. And but if we want to precise about uh, what I am looking for from the given set of problem, then we need to define some well-defined measure. So, for example, I talk about writing exams in a particular subject, and the performance measure could be how much marks that a student has scored in that particular exams. And if we talk about diagnosing patients of a specific illness, so in that case, the performance measure would be the number of patients that you saved, or number of patients who didn't have adverse effect of the drugs that is given to them. Or there could be variety of performance measure depending on what you are looking for from the given problem. It may be your objective may be different. So as per your objective, you may define the performance measure. And next, move on to experience. So experience is an important component of machine learning, and with experience, the performance has to improve. For example, if I talk about writing exams in a particular subject, and more number of exams that I write, and more stake, or more and more there will be chances of scoring more marks in a particular subject. For example, if I want to diagnose patients of a specific illness, so in the same way, if I diagnose more and more patients, then I will have more and more experience in diagnosing patients of a specific illness. So if we need to understand what is machine learning, so we need to have three components. That is, we need to have some well-defined set of tasks, some performance measure, that is outcome which we are looking from the problem, and the improvised experience. So it is clear now. So moving on, and I will give you example of what is machine learning, and it is the science of making computers learn and act like human by feeding data and information without being explicitly programmed. So actually, any machine learning model take historical data or past data, and then the algorithm analyzes the data and it extracts the features so that this model can learn. And after learning, or after improvising its experience, it can be used to predict some kind of output what we are looking for. So for example, uh, uh, if I give a description of the patient who are coming to my clinic, the description would be blood pressure, temperature, or types of hemoglobin data, or different kinds of whether a temperature or other kind of data. So the objective is to whether I would like to find whether a patient has a simple flu, or simple other kind of disease, or maybe cancer disease, or maybe other kind of disease. So what I am looking for, whether a patient has a particular type of disease, yes or no. So I want to predict from the given data the patients who are coming to my clinic, and I created an algorithm, and I analyze the data, and now I am looking for the outcomes, whether a patient has a particular type of disease, yes or no. So going on, there is very popular application available on Android or on say Apple platform, that is Snapchat. And Snapchat is an application that suggests or improvise your photographs by analyzing your face, and looks for color and patterns on the face, and then they suggest a particular type of equipment like say goggles and other kind of dress it can suggest. So basically they analyze the contrast and patterns of your faces, and then they suggest some kind of equipment like goggles and other, and based on their objective is to improvise your looking when you appear on Snapchat. So in now we move to machine learning paradigms. So there are three different paradigms of machine learning, that is supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. And in supervised learning, we learn to map an input to output. So I have some input data, and I want to convert. I want to predict some output from the given input data. For example, I have the customer data, or and I am looking for whether I have a customer data, and I am looking for the categories of customer, or I have a patient data, and I'm looking whether a patient has a particular type of disease, yes or no. Or I have given the description of the question, and I want that you should give me the answer, or system should give me the answer, whether the answer is true or false, whether the answer is yes or no, or whether the answer is 0 or 1. And similarly, I have patient data, and I want to know whether a patient has a particular type of disease, yes or no, 0 or 1, or true or false. So, depending on what type of output I am looking for, if output happens to be categorical output like yes or no, or true or false, or 0 or 1, then that type of classification, then that type of supervised learning problem is known as classification problem. So if I am looking for categorical output like yes or no, or true or false, or 0 or 1, so then that type of supervised learning problem is called classification problem. And second type of problem, uh, that is here we are not interested in categorical output, but we are interested in continuous output. Like I would like to know what will be the temperature at 12 a.m. tomorrow, or what will be the rainfall that happens tomorrow in the evening or in the morning. And when or suppose I buy a particular mobile or laptop or any kind of equipment, and I'm looking for how much this product will last before it fails. So when I am looking for such type of output, which is not happens to be categorical output, but it happens to be continuous output, then that type of supervised learning problem is known as regression problem. And then we move on unsupervised learning problem. And in unsupervised learning, we actually the goal is not to produce an output in response to the given set of data, but the goal is to find the patterns in the data. Like, for example, I have a shop, and I want to know the categories of customers who are coming to my shop. The categories may be whether a young student who are coming to my shop, or whether a young IT professional, or industry professionals, or whether a local residents or set of local residents who are coming to my shop. So when I am looking for such cohesive grouping among the data, so I have a shop and different types of customers who are coming to my shop, and I want to categorize the type of customers. Here, the type would not be type 1 or type 2 or type 3. I am looking for different categories of customer, whether young student, or young industry professional, it may be IT professional, or whether the customers are local residents, or somewhere nearby residents. So our objective is to look for cohesive grouping among the data. So when this type of unsupervised learning problem is known as clustering problem. And second type of clustering problem is association rule mining problem. And in association rule mining problem, suppose you go on daily shop, daily market, and you always buy bread, butter, milk, and eggs. And based on the experience that a customer, that the shopkeeper has, whenever you go on next time, they will start recommending some new kind of butter, new kind of bread, or new kind of milks that have arrived latest. So their objective that you frequently buy these kind of items, and they have recorded all your purchases that you make. So frequent association rule mining is like uh, frequent co-occurrences within the data. If suppose an event A occur, then based on the occurring of event A, there may be chances that event B may also occur. So likewise, if a customer A who usually comes to my shop, and along with A there is a customer B also comes to my shop. So whenever I see customer A in my shop, then I can predict that customer B also somewhere in my shop. So that is known as frequent co-occurrences within the data. And third type of learning is known as reinforcement learning. And reinforcement learning is neither and supervised learning or nor unsupervised learning, but it is some kind of learning where it learns to control the behavior of a system, and the objective is to improvise the performance of the system. So you can take the example of say a robot which are used in different shops, or in manufacturing industry, or in other kind of to perform complex integrate operation. Likewise for manufacturing industry, where robots can learn to how to pick a different kind of equipment which can be fit in a particular type of product, and so that complete product or complete outcome may be produced. So every time they perform a task, and their objective is to improvise their experience by whether what action they have performed is positive or negative. So it is different kind of learning, and moving on, we see this different kind of learning. So here I will end this lecture, and we come to when we come to next lecture, uh, we discuss about some performance measure, or we discuss about uh, some errors, or difference in what are the difference in performance measure. So hope you have enjoyed this lecture, and thank you all for listening this lecture. And in next lecture, we will cover the supervised learning problem, and I will give a overview of supervised learning model, and I will give you some examples and application of supervised learning problem. So thank you all for listening this lecture, and thank you.